Please come, Shreya.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Please sit down. Okay, so Shreya, please introduce yourself to the panel.
So my name is Shreya Tyagi. I was born in Delhi, but I've grown up in a few different cities because of my father's job. It was a transferable job. I've done my 10th and 12th from the Kingdom of Bahrain in the Middle East. And thereafter, I came to Delhi for my graduation and post-graduation in political science and international relations. Right now, sir, I'm a probationer in the Indian Defence Council.
Delhi master plan has been approved by the Lieutenant Governor 2 days back. Can you recall some of the highlights of this master plan?
I'm sorry.
Okay, they have talked about night economy should be started in Delhi to increase the overall income through business. What do you have to say about it?
So I think it's a welcome step. A lot of the metropolitans in cities across the world, especially as lively as Delhi, work on the idea of a night economy. That is, markets that operate late, eateries are open late, and there's a corresponding safety system that exists to facilitate such an economy. I think it's a welcome step.
The opening or maybe 24/7 opening of business, is it automatically a better strategy for ensuring safety of people and women particularly?
I think it is, sir. If the city in itself is open for later hours and there is greater police presence on the streets, there is almost always a proportional evidence that women are safer in those cities, such as Bombay, such as Mumbai, sir, I apologize. Women are generally safer there because of the overall greater presence of a night economy that exists in such a cities.
Shreya, Supreme Court has given a historic judgment today on election commissions, structuring and selections of the election commissioners. Are you aware of it?
So I apologize.
Doesn't matter. Though it is today's thing, but I thought that these days, one sees digital news more than the newspapers anyway. So tell me, this foreign ministers conference is going on. India has been trying to build consensus after the not so good experience with the finance ministers conference. What do you think? Will India be able to build a consensus?
So currently it seems difficult because of just the fact that already the foreign ministers of both Russia and China have already said that there are going to be difficulties in the way that the West is approaching the G20 summits in totality. However, India is trying its best and it is acting as a mediator to bring all parties to the table. Hopefully, it will be a different scenario from the financial ministers.
But Shah, tell me, is it fair on the part of the Western countries to raise the issue of geopolitical concerns in an economic-driven platform?
So I think it is fair because the world today is such that the geopolitics of any sort of situation plays out into the economy as well. The geopolitics of the Ukraine war is impacting the fuel, food and fertilizer prices all over the world. So it seems like a fair ask to let it play in an economic platform too.
So you are in the Indian Defence Account Service.
Yes, sir.
So in foreign trade, you were ADG earlier.
Yes, sir. I was in the Indian Trade Service before.
Oh, then you got into the Defence Account Service. All right. So let's talk about the budget, for defence budget in the last budget. So how do you think the budget, defence investments in the budget has been this year?
Sir, a total of 5.9 lakh crore investment has been there in the budget this year towards the area of defence. This is the largest sectoral allocation to any ministry. Overall, sir, it's a 15% rise from the budget last year. However, sir, in real terms, there is also, we are seeing one very big part of this year's budget is around 30% of the budget in itself will go towards capital expenditure, which is something that the Defence Ministry is trying to move towards, that we have greater movement towards capital expenditure rather than revenue and salary expenditure. That's a prominent feature.
Okay. Shreya, on the FTA issue, German Chancellor was here and they all promised that EU and India will have the FTA as soon as possible, and he'll make all the efforts. Now, why is European Union foreign trade agreement, free trade agreement, important for India?
So the European Union Free Trade Agreement is important for India for two perspectives. First, India seeks to sell most of its goods to developed nations so as to gain a comparative market advantage. Second, in the past, we've not been able to strike free trade agreements with those countries where we are not in competitive selling agreements. As in, sir, previously, something like an FTA with the ASEAN used to lead to the similar kind of goods being sold in both countries, and they used to have a price advantage due to a lot of structural measures that their economies have gone through. So, sir, I think it's a big improvement.
My last question, Shreya. How is the presence of Indian diaspora affecting the foreign policies of those countries towards India? Have you understood my question?
So, foreign policy of those countries. So, I think foreign policies of a lot of countries that have a significant Indian diaspora is particularly favorable towards India. We are seeing, if I can elaborate from an example, sir. Okay, sir. So, last year in the CAATSA negotiations that were happening in the US Senate, Senator Ro Khanna was able to argue for a CAATSA waiver for India. So, this shows that having the diaspora in significantly powerful positions for their country also gives a favorable view towards India, and it also helps create a broader framework even from their foreign policy.
Thank you, Shreya. I pass on to our member.
Shreya, you see, India's foreign policy, defined policy is neighborhood first, neighbors first. But when we see its application in terms of Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, and even a bit distant neighbor, Turkey, then I feel that it's not exactly a neighborhood first. There is some variation. Why we are not helping Pakistan in view of our neighborhood first policy?
Sorry, sir. So I think the reason as to why there's a variable difference in the way that neighborhood first policy is carried out is because of the bilateral relationships that also exist within our neighborhood. In case of Pakistan, a difficult bilateral relationship that has existed since the last 75 years, and especially in the last 5 years due to increased terror, violence, and increased impeachment of our sovereignty across the border. It lends India to be a little skeptical and cautious in helping Pakistan, sir. So I think that is where the differences lie, that bilateral relationships play a role in how we skew our regional dynamics within the region.
Are you aware of Rohingyas issues? Who are Rohingyas and what is the problem they are creating with us?
So Rohingyas are a minority group fleeing from the Myanmar region, from the Arakan region in Myanmar. And they have settled over in India as well as Bangladesh, fleeing from the Myanmarese army.
What is the route they have taken to enter India?
So they've taken two main routes. They've taken through the routes of Bangladesh and the northeast through border impeachment. They've also taken the routes of by sea, that is coming in from the Bay of Bengal. Sir. These are the two routes that I know, sir.
Sea, can they enter directly into India?
So from what I know, they have entered from the coast of Orissa and Andhra Pradesh, but of course it's illegal migration through both cases.
Give me two examples of women empowerment through legislation.
Sir, the Protection Against Sexual Harassment Act is one of the biggest works towards women empowerment. Also, sir, the Maternity Benefit Act of 2021 is one major step towards it.
Thank you.
Shreya, IFS is your first choice,
Yes, sir.
right? So, brain drain, how big is brain drain a problem? And what will you do to counter this issue?
So brain drain is a significant problem for India, especially in the case of technical fields. A lot of our population goes abroad for better opportunities. However, sir, being a democracy as well as a country that prides itself in building a strong diaspora, we cannot curtail people from going outside. However, we can seek to create better opportunities in births and also seek to create a pipeline that draws back diaspora into our country. That is something that I think the Indian Foreign Service is starting to work towards diligently now. And that is something that I would concentrate. That pipeline of bringing them back to our country and acting as a feeder mechanism for research and development within our country is something I would
I
like.
think COVID time reverse brain drain started. Students wanted to come back to their motherland because of, and all of a sudden when COVID is over, again brain drain is happening.
Yes, sir, I think we can say so, but I don't know if we can term it as brain drain because in the COVID time, it was students wanting to come back home to seek familiarity and comfort and also unfamiliar circumstances abroad. So I would understand it in that respect.
So Shreya, tell me about money laundering. This also is a major problem. So what is money laundering? What are various processes?
So money laundering can be understood as apologize, sir. Money laundering can be understood as the conversion of illegal money into and converting it, adopting it into a system that it becomes white money and integrating it into the white economy. So, can I ask you for the second question? What was the second question, sir?
Second part was, what are the processes of doing money laundering? And next question is, what India is doing to check money laundering?
So various systems of doing money laundering exist, such as the Hawala system, such as various dealing in various sort of organized crimes, such as drugs, human trafficking, etc. India is doing a lot, is part of its own domestic initiatives, such as the PMLE, and as well as international initiatives such as the FATF at a global level, so as to counter money laundering.
Shreya, what is a republic state and what is a populist state?
So, republic state is a state that is headed by a citizen at its peak, and a populist state is a state that is driven by election victories. So actually, my definition.
All right. Last question. Opinion polls, exit polls. What are these, and are there any restrictions imposed on some of these polls? What are those restrictions?
So opinion polls are polls that are held outside polling stations just to ask as to what are the opinions of the voters in this election, what do they expect out of the government, etc. Exit polls are estimations made by various news agencies with regards to who will win this election. So with regards to the regulations around them, I'll have to read out.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Shreya, India is a very ancient country, a very old civilization. What do you think? Since when India is engaged in foreign trade?
So, India is engaged in foreign trade since the time of the Indus Valley civilization, sir. In terms of trade with even the Middle East and Bahrain, where I lived, Dilman was one of the centers of trade with India at that point of time. So, India has been engaged in foreign trade since then and has been trading through various ancient empires such as Ashoka, the Chola empires, the Mughals, etc.
Which are the specific areas where Chola Empire did have their trade?
So Southeast Asia as well as the Indian Ocean archipelago are some of the areas where they engaged in trade.
In recent times, during English times or just before English period, British period, what are the few important things which India traded which are the things which India exported in lieu of something else? India's export at that time, during Mughal period and during a little bit British period.
So the Mughal period and the British period. So during the Mughal period, there was a sale in agricultural commodities, especially spices, such as peppercorns and some of the spices like cardamom, etc. These were one of the chief agricultural commodities, as well as gems and jewelry was one of our key export feature. So as the British came, some of the commodities that were diversified too were things like opium, tea, etc. that were then exported out of the countries.
And which was the center for spice export?
So Kerala was the center of spice exports.
And which civilization, Indian civilization or Chinese civilization, is more ancient as far as foreign trade is?
So I don't know the exact history of the Chinese trade, but considering we go back to the Indus Valley civilization, I would say logically maybe Indian civilization should be older.
Okay. Tell me something about Saudi Arabia. What type of reforms do you see in Saudi Arabia nowadays?
So I think we can see two types of main reforms. One would be an economic sort of reform where they're moving towards diversification as well as a greater building of internal strength of the country in terms of a concentration of sovereign wealth funds, increased investment, creation of greater trade ties with complementary economies, etc. So on the political and the social front, we're also seeing slow changes in terms of allowing women to drive, also greater progress in terms of not having the needing permission, I think, to go to university. That is a small change that has happened in the country. So I think slowly they're moving towards liberalization. Seems to be a slow process.
Simultaneously, the people are agitating in Israel nowadays. Why they are agitating?
Sorry, sir. So I'm not sure.
Not sure. Okay, tell me something about Saudi Arabia and Iran. Why these two countries cannot see eye to eye?
So the conflict between Saudi Arabia and Iran is twofold. One, from a very surface point of view, is the fact that there are different denominations of Islam, the Shia and the Sunni Islam. And so Iran is a Shia country and Saudi Arabia is a Sunni country. However, sir, it runs deeper than that because prior to 1979 also, even though these structures have been existing since ancient times, about since 600 AD, however, it is only since 1979 when things have started to get more complicated. And this has to do with the leadership of the Muslim world, which both of the countries claim. And this is why both of the countries see as the other interfering in each other's internal affairs, as well as trying to meddle in its neighbors and close friends policies.
The role in Yemen, these two countries.
So both countries are supporting opposite ends of the spectrum in Yemen. And that is also a reason as to why the Yemen fight has been going on for so long. Iran has been supporting the Houthi rebels, while Saudi Arabia has been supporting the government in power.
My last question, what is the problem between Israel and Iran?
So, so Israel is a country that was born post the 1940s, post 1948, and Iran, seeing itself as a leader of the Muslim world, sees the existence of Israel on Palestinian soil as a source of American imperialism. So there is, from its founding, there have been problems. Beyond that, sir, Israel sees that Iran is brandishing a nuclear sword over its head since the time that Iran claims to have nuclear weapons. So they exist in antagonistic relationships since then.
What is the role of Al-Aqsa Mosque?
So Jerusalem has three main centers of three main sites of religion. Al-Aqsa Mosque is one of the holiest sites of Islam, third most holiest site of Islam, and it's present in Jerusalem. And Iran says that because of the denial of the Israel trying to control who has access to the shrine, as well as constant challenges by Israeli politicians to breach its boundaries, is something that Iran raises again and again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Shreya, you are currently in IDAS. So, there are a number of account services under civil services. What is your opinion about merger of all the account services?
So I think the merger of the account services is a welcome step because of the fact that there will be a simplification of procedures, as well as the fact that best practices that exist within one account services can be carried forward to the other ones. It will also lead to less duplication of efforts. So I think it is a step going forward.
Your optional is political science. So, I would like to know about the political funding and spending. There is no level playing field, especially in case of regional parties as well. So, can you propose a solution to this? How can we bring about a level playing field as far as political funding and spending is concerned?
So my suggestion would be that going forward, there needs to be a greater segregation and clarification in the kind of election expenditure that exists. I think a lot of even though there are limits on what election expenditure should be, a lot of expenditure gets, say, subsumed between star campaigners and various other loopholes that exist within the system. So an identification of those loopholes and then further categorization so that these loopholes are not violated, sir, I think is an important step moving forward.
HIIT, is it better than gym?
Sir, I don't, it depends on the person. For me, I find it better than the gym because first, I don't waste any time going to the gym and coming back from the gym. And it can be done from the comfort of the home. And also it takes a lesser time, about 30 minutes. So I find it more convenient.
You like learning about Indian cuisine. So we see that North Indians like South Indian food, but people from South India generally do not like food from North India.
So it may be conjecture from my part. From my friends who I've heard who are from South India who don't like North Indian food, they say it's unnecessarily spicy and oily. And this could be because of the fact that most of the food that they are also having is generally food from outside. And home food in North India is substantially more different. So I think maybe that is one of the reasons as to why they say they don't like it.
I would like to know about the Adani issue. Has SEBI played its role properly?
I think so, sir. I think going forward, it has said that it will start an investigation on the issue.
Okay, then why did Supreme Court appointed a committee? Don't you think it undermines the position of SEBI as a regulator?
So I think the increased political unrest around the Adani issue is why I presume that the Supreme Court appointed a committee so as to show that it's proactive about such an issue. And yes, sir, it does challenge the independence of such a regulator in such an instance.
Okay, thank you, Shreya. I pass on to Chairman, sir.
Shreya, anything which we may not have covered from your DAF? So maybe if you indicate, I can ask the last.
So I think a lot of the things
Has been covered. So thank you, Shreya. We close our interview. We'll call you in another minute or so. Meanwhile, you can wait in the room.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, please come. Shreya, I believe you're not feeling well today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but that is not the reason why we have called you immediately.
Okay, sir.
There's some other reason. Because we did not spend any time to, assess your performance. You were so good. So flawless performance, Shreya, I must say. And we are only wondering why you should not get into the topmost service which you desire this time. So you have not been doing your mains very well.
Actually, I've been losing marks in my optional last two times.
So you have changed the optional this time.
No, sir. I've changed my strategy a bit this time. I hope.
So you, according to you, have done better.
I hope so.
So how many marks have you been missing by? This is your first UPSC interview?
No, sir. This is my third UPSC.
Third one.
Yeah. I've been selected twice before.
Sorry.
Trade service and defense and all.
I just missed it, yes.
But I had a similar main story.
So less in the mains.
Yes, mains is less. Sir.
So how? Okay, we have given you 72%, Shreya, today for your performance. We generally give a rating and a marking also. So that makes 198. So how much you got in your the two interviews that you had?
So 190 and 193.
So from this angle, Shreya, I think you have been consistently doing well. Today also, I mean, there's no reason why you should not get even beyond that, because candidates have got even 218 last time. So that is one. And if you have done your mains, how many marks did you miss by your service of choice?
So my service of choice by around 16 marks.
16. So hope that you make it this time, Shreya. So I have nothing to add. If members have something to...
Only read newspapers, including Financial Times. Whatever. One thing which is getting up now is the OROP. One rank, one pension. Since as of now you are a member of Defence Account Service, just go through it, what it is and what Supreme Court had said and what commitment or assurance the Government of India has given. So, OROP. Perhaps by 14th March, they said they will complete the process. Yeah.
Shreya, nothing to add. Very good. So just look into strategic culture. And is India a strategic cultured state or not? Right? Rest all, you were very good. Opinion poll, exit poll and restrictions. What are various restrictions on these? Wish you all the best.
Shreya, you are an excellent candidate. Just keep continuing what you are doing in your study. That will do. And this time you will make it. Certainly you will make it this time. Okay, just keep your sardi khasi away, because you are on 10th, I think, 10th now. So this is the second. So 7 or 8 days. So Delhi is having a lot of influenza and this and that. So keep yourself safe from this for 7-8 days. That is one requirement. And other requirement, keep on doing whatever you are doing for your studies. All the best.
So Shreya, just 3 words, keep it up. Okay? All the best.
Thank you so much.
So I have told you the marks, Shreya. Any
Yes.
questions if you have?
So questions in terms of just speed of answering and eye contact, sir, is something that I get
You were good
confused
in both.
about. Okay, sir.
Not an issue at all. Very good.
Okay, sir.
And yeah,
so
tell.
one more
Yes,
question.
please.
In a lot of questions, sometimes I feel like I'm not sure. Like in the opinion poll question, is it a good idea to venture a guess in such questions till the extent that you know and then say
No, it depends, Shreya, how confident you are. Suppose if it's just like a negative marking. Suppose if you are 33% chances that you will be wrong, ignore. If you think that more than 50% chances you have, in that case, don't say, sir, can I guess? Don't use this word. Guess मत use करो. Guess से irritation होती है panel को. आप ये कहोगे, sir, can I make an attempt? You know, that's a nicer word. So they will certainly say, yeah, please. That means it will also reflect your personality. कि I have not lost. I mean, I have not submitted. You know, I still want to try. So, or I want to try. Can I try? So, can I make an attempt? Don't say guess. Guess में क्या होगा कि नहीं छोड़ो और दूसरे questions. And if you have the benefit of doubt, should go in favor of, just saying कि sir, I'm sorry. If you're not sure, you are strong in so many things. Why dwell on one particular thing and then get embarrassed? And then, more than getting embarrassment, more than losing one question, more important, Shreya, is that the kind of imprint that you will have on your mind at that point in time. Oh, I tried and I failed. I was wrong. I hope I should have just passed it off. So that will keep lingering in your mind and will affect your future, the performance over the next few minutes. So better take a call.
Okay, sir.
And but don't do it too often. So every time I want to attempt, so that will give an impression that you are seeking validation every time. You're taking the support of the panel. कि मैंने तो गलत नहीं बोला, मैंने कह दिया था आपसे कि मैं सही नहीं हूँ. I am not taking the blame for a wrong answer. Get my point? Again, that personality will come in play. So that's it. Election का देख लेना, आज ही बड़ा अच्छा historic judgment आया. So if there is nothing more, Shreya, all the very best.
Yes, nothing. Thank you so much.
All the best.